So over the last 15 years of creating content on YouTube, I have realized and I have discovered that there are 4 different types of content that are always going to get views, they're going to get more views, and they're also going to get more subscribers. There's actually content out there that doesn't really lend itself to getting subscribers, and I'll share that with you here today. But what I really want to share with you are the 4 different types of content that you should be focusing on, because these here will definitely speed up your growth. They'll also speed up the amount of subscribers that you're getting to your channel. So let's go ahead and sit down here. I've got some notes. I'm out on the back deck, and I figured I would go ahead and share this with you here today on this beautiful day. So I am going to cheat a little bit. I've got a guide that I put together, and these are the 4. And this is actually I actually put together a 100K YouTube business plan from my experience from over the last 15 years. And I've built 6- and 7-figure businesses on the back of YouTube. And I have learned that there are definitely different styles and different types of content. And I'll even share with you what this piece of content is that I'm creating today is one of these types, okay? So let's just kind of get into it, all right? Oh, and I should probably say too, if you did want a copy of this, it's like 18 pages. It's the full business plan. Like I said, if you want that, just put 100K in the comments and I'll make sure that I send you a copy, all right? So the very first type of content, all right, that you could be creating. Now, again, this has to be for a niche that is looking for an advancement as far as like maybe figuring something out, or maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a big pond right there. I live on a pond. Maybe you want to catch more bass. And if you want to catch more bass, well, if you know how to catch more bass, you're probably going to help someone with that. So the very first thing you can do is, and I have it right here, is go over the mistakes that you've made. All right, share the mistakes that you have made. Now, I could share a story, and stories are also a great place to start, because you now can just share the story and then it becomes easy. Okay, so I can share a story right now, and I can say, okay, I started a YouTube channel a while back, and I started to create content for this niche, but it didn't really pan out well. And the reason why it didn't is because I didn't really identify the niche that well. And I know some of you that are saying, Scott, it's not niche, it's niche, or it's nicho. I say niche because it rhymes with rich. Riches are in the niches. I like that better. No, really, there's actually not a right or wrong way. I looked into it. But you can look it up if you want. Anyway, it wasn't until I started to realize that I wasn't targeting the niche. All right, I was kind of too broad, okay? And because I was too broad, I wasn't able to really speak to that niche, all right? So that was a mistake. So I would then turn that into a lesson and say, listen, don't make that mistake, okay? So it's like if I was talking to someone that was trying to catch more bass, I might say, hey, I used to go early in the morning, and then I realized after I learned over the years that the early morning is not the right time to go. It's actually mid-afternoon or evening, and I really don't know. I'm not a bass fisherman. So, I mean, I have a pond here, and I've caught some bass in there, but I don't really take it too serious. I probably should, because I live on a pond. I actually have a boat that goes on the pond, but yeah, I should probably get into it. Anyway, back to my story and what I want to share with you. Mistakes, okay? Everyone wants to avoid mistakes, okay? And I have videos on this channel that talk about mistakes that I have made. So mistakes is a very easy way to show that you have been there, you've done that, and you've made mistakes. This also brings up your authority. Now, this is where you're always going to be able to get more subscribers when you're helping someone try to achieve something. If all you were doing was trying to create the next viral video, that's great and all. But if you're not actually helping someone get a result, your subscribers will be less. Because why is someone going to subscribe because of a viral video of you falling, or videotaping, yourself on one of your video cameras or one of your, house cameras, and you were out at the grill and you fell, and it's funny, and it went viral. Great. But no one's going to subscribe to your channel because you posted that, okay? And if they do, it's very little. But if you're helping someone, now I'm going to share a story with you right now on something that worked, all right? And this is going to go into one of my little buckets here. This is the first one, the mistakes. But I recently did that on this channel, okay? I posted, it wasn't a mistake, but I shared a story of how I was able to start on YouTube, and it allowed me to leave my job, and I'm talking, 15 years ago now, but I shared that story, and then what it does is it makes people feel more relatable to you, or at least they understand you. Also, I talked about how I'm over 40, so then people are going to relate to you. So anytime that you can really call out to your audience and speak to their mistakes, their concerns, the things that are going to help them along the way, it's just going to help them feel as though you're the right person for them. And then what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to subscribe. And by the way, if you think that maybe you want to learn here from this channel after watching this video, you can subscribe. But I don't ever push that. And honestly, I don't hardly ever say it because people will just naturally do it because they're genuinely getting value. All right? So the content has to be value-based. If you share one mistake, now it doesn't have to be 20 mistakes. It could be one mistake per video. So just think about, what are the mistakes? Sit down, pad of paper, get out a notepad, and just start writing down what were some of the mistakes that you made that you would have wanted to avoid. That becomes video content. All right. Now, I did a video before this one, which is in this series, which talks about how to come up with really, really good titles. I'll link that up in the description. Make sure that you watch that. All right. Because that'll help you with the titles. We come up with titles, then we come up with the content. And this is how we're coming up with content today. We're going to write a list of all of those mistakes. Okay. And that becomes a bucket. Okay. A bucket of content. That's the first one. The second one is very simple. How to. Okay. So even in the mistake video, you're probably going to say, okay, that's the mistake. Here's how to do it differently. Okay. So you could actually, you don't just want to talk about the mistake. You want to talk about the mistake. You want to talk about the fix, right? So when we're talking about how to, then it might just be, okay, what are 5 things that I've learned over the years of how to do something and get that result? So using the bass fishing thing, maybe I have tried rubber worms, and I tried the yellow ones, the pink ones, and the purple ones. And I noticed that the purple ones work better at night. Well, it would be how to catch more bass using rubber worms. And then I would tell them what rubber worm color was going to be the better one to try to use. Okay? So all I'm doing is I'm teaching how. Or it might be a very basic beginner, like this here. This is a little bit beginnerish, okay? It's very helpful to even someone that's been doing it a while but might be struggling, but it's for the person that's just getting started. If you go through this series that I'm creating right now, this is like how to come up with content ideas and the different types of content. If you go through this, it's going to help you, and I'm showing you how to do it, right? So anytime that you can show someone how to do something, if you are in the home remodeling and you're teaching people how to remodel a bathroom, there's different parts of the bathroom that you're going to show how to do. How to replace a pedestal sink, how to replace a toilet, how to replace, like fill in the blanks. Very, very self-explanatory. And that stuff also is very search-based on YouTube, okay? And what I mean by that is people are going to type in how to replace toilet or how to replace cast iron tub, a little more specific, okay? So that's what we want to do. That's the how-tos. And again, that's just these 2 right here. Once again, if you want this full guide, this is just part of it. If you want the entire thing, just put 100K in the comments and I'll make sure that I send you a copy. All right. The third one, tips. Okay. Now that last one I shared with you about the different worm, okay, the different color in the worm, that's just a tip. Now that could be its own video, or it could be how to, okay, you could still use the how to in a tip. How to catch more bass using yellow worms, okay? So now that's a tip. Or you put tip right in the title, Okay, and now I talked about this in that other video, and again, if you didn't watch that video, I'm going to encourage you to do that. Just head on over in the description after this video, and you can watch that. But it would be something like 5 tips, okay? 5 tips to catch more bass in a pond. 5 tips to using rubber worms when catching bass. Whatever it is, like 5 tips, 7 tips, 4 tips, or whatever the tips are, or my biggest tip. Okay, so everyone loves tips. So whenever you can give someone a tip, and just think about it. I want you to think like you're speaking to that one individual. And I said this in another video that I shot, is like when you're communicating with your audience, like right now I'm communicating with you, I'm imagining that I'm speaking to one person and I'm educating this person, that we're sitting down at this table, we're having a conversation, and I'm helping them come up with content ideas. And this is what I would do. I'd be like, all right, make a list of your mistakes. Make a list of things that you've learned over the years that are how-tos, and then make a list of the tips. That's what we want to do, okay? So then we're making these lists, and these become our content buckets, all right? Now, once again, when you get into how-to, what does that do for someone? Once you show them how to do something and then they do it, they're going to like you even more, right? This is also something else I talk about in the guide. It's called KLT, know, like, and trust. When you get someone to know, like, and trust you, we elevate that to where they're now going to want to maybe buy something from you or go through one of your affiliate links. So all of that stuff kind of builds on itself, and that's part of this video series that we're doing right now. So it's very, very important that we understand that this here is going to increase the subscriber ratio from someone viewing it to someone subscribing. Why? Because we're helping someone. And then they're going to genuinely get to know you, and they're going to like you, and then they're going to click subscribe. And then when you post a new video, you have a larger base that your first initial boost is going to be sent out to, and then YouTube's going to look at that, and then that's going to give you more momentum in the very beginning. Okay? So it's really, really important that you understand this type of content will get you views, it'll get you more views, and it will get you more subscribers. Okay, so let's move on. The last one, and this is another one that I want you to sit down and create a list. Okay, what are the common questions? What are the common questions that someone would need to know for the thing that you're sharing? Right, so for me right now, I know the questions are, what type of video equipment do you need? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that. I actually have a video on that. I'll link that up in the description as well. But you see, I already did that video because I know that that's one of the common questions that people ask, okay? And so for me, it's very simple. I'm doing this right now on an iPhone 15 in cinematic mode. I've got my Osmo 6, and I've got my lav mic right here, okay? And by the way, all those links are in the description. Yes, they are affiliate links. Yes, you'll buy me and my son a cup of coffee, and we would appreciate that. But no pressure. But you see what I did there? Right? I'm delivering value here, and I just kind of shared that. So that's part of the content process as well. You just want to be open, honest, transparent, but you want to help people with what the next step is, okay? And so in this equation here that we're talking about, it's questions, okay? So this bucket is all about questions. So you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm teaching someone how to catch bass for the first time. What do they need to know? They need to know what type of rod, what type of fishing line, what types of lures do they need, what time of day do they need, right? So they're going to be asking these questions like, hey, what kind of rod do you get when you first start? Hey, what kind of bait should I get when I go to the tackle box or the tackle shop? What time of day should I go for my best chances? Or maybe it's even more advanced now. You're talking about winning tournaments. Hey, I'm going to be entering my first tournament for, to catch bass. Where do I go to find these? You see all the questions? These are all videos. These are all videos that you could be creating. So literally, if you take this list, these 4 boxes, these are your 4 buckets, you take these, okay, and then just create lists, you're going to have endless amounts of content that you can create, okay, endless, okay? So that's what I want you to do. And that's all that I ever do. For this channel, for my brand creators channel, which is just at about 100,000 subscribers, we're like, I don't know, 1,500 shy of it right now. We're almost there. But that's all I've ever done. The other channel that I talked about, that I started years ago, which I don't run anymore right now, but that one there did 6 figures. It had 16,000 subscribers, only 16,000 subscribers, and still able to do 6 figures for multiple years in a row because I did this. And I built that KLT, which is know, like, and trust. More on that in this guide. Once again, if you want this, just put 100K in the comments and I'll make sure that I send you a copy of it. So in this series already, we talked about finding your niche. If you didn't see that, I'll link that up in the description as well. Then from there, we talked about coming up with really, really good titles, good hooks, okay? And now we're talking about taking the hook, turning it into a piece of content, and that's what we just did right here. Now, what's the next step? Well, I'm glad that you asked, because the next thing is we have to come up with good packaging. We have to come up with good thumbnails that are going to grab attention. And guess what? I've produced probably at this point thousands of thumbnails, and I've got some that really do well. And what I want to do is I want to break down and share with you how to package up your content so it gets more clicks, so you get more views. I'm going to put it right here. Watch that video next. I'll show you exactly what you need to know about packaging and how to get more clicks so you get more views. Watch that video next, and I'll see you there.